All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Appreciate you all, again, being patient with us. And I know having an online Zoom neighborhood meeting is a little bit awkward. Um, this is the format recommended by the city of Franklin for neighborhood meetings, for rezonings, and for PUD requests. My name is Greg Gamble, and I'm a land planning consultant representing David Leonard for the rezoning and this request for 130 West Folk Street. David is in the meeting with us tonight, and will tell you a little bit about his plans. First of all, this is a recorded meeting. The meeting will be posted to the City of Franklin's website under neighborhood meetings. So if you know of someone who would like to see this and was not available tonight to see it, you can refer them to the website. Should be posted probably by Monday, would be my guess. Not everything happens instantly, but there are two ways that you can communicate with us tonight. One, just take yourself off mute and ask a question verbally. We also have the chat enabled. So if you go to your chat screen, you can click on that and it'll open up the opportunity for you to type in questions there. If during the presentation you have a question that you want to ask, it may be better to go ahead and just put it into the chat, and that way we'll be able to get to it toward the end of the meeting. There will be plenty of time at the end of the presentation for you to ask questions, and hopefully we can address all of those questions. It's a little awkward for me to make sure that people are all in the meeting. So if I pause in the middle of the presentation to let somebody in, that's what's going on. But we'll walk you through what we're proposing. So this is the site, this is the property. It's 130 West Folk Street. It was previously the Winstead Tabernacle. This is a photograph, a street view of the Winstead Tabernacle. And David Leonard has purchased this structure. And David, do you want to take just a few minutes to tell them a little bit about who you are and what you're proposing here?
Unmute myself, sorry. Yeah, thanks for being in here. I've been in the area for 16 years, grew up in Southeast Arkansas, and been here for about 16 years doing music. Moved to town to do music stuff, and so I've ran a recording studio in downtown Franklin for the last 10 years. So off of Evans Street, 712 Evans Street is where I've been, and it's been awesome. But for the last 3 years, been looking for a place of my own to make it home. Me and my partner Brad King have been searching for a place and looked for about 2 years, 2.5 years, trying to find the right space. We do mostly Christian and gospel music is what we do. And so whenever we saw the church up for sale, man, we were so excited. It's always been a dream to, we make creative spaces. And so when you have a space it's already been drenched in what we do and what we create, it's kind of one of those things that you feel like you just want to continue the spirit of what's already happened there. And so whenever we met Patina and we met her and got to come in and see the space, it was one of those that was like, man, this could be a really, really special place. And one of the last times we were there, we had the doors open and two people just walked in, sat down in the pews, and they just said that they had gone to church there as they were growing up, and they just hadn't seen the doors open in a long time, and they wanted to come in. And for me, that was something that was really, really special, because what we do from a musician and from a community standpoint is we create music in community. And the fact that there was already an open door policy to this place, that they felt like they could walk in and just sit down, that to me was like that was the spirit that I wanted to continue on. From day one, we've always had an open door policy at our studio. Anybody who wants to come in, be a fly on the wall, they can come. and so for us, it's been such a big piece of communal space, and you know, we're not trying to change anything here. We want to continue on with the same spirit, and we just want to have church on a daily basis. It's going to look a little bit different, but that's the majority of what we want to do is just continue on with what's already there.
So this
Um,
is not a historic building, but it is historic to the neighborhood, and it's historic to the community. And the preservation of this building is important not only to David and his partner,
yeah.
but also to the community and the neighbors that are adjacent to it.
Well, we're called the Creek Music. The Creek Music is what we call the studio, but we want to call this place the Creek at Winstead Tabernacle. Um, we want to put we're going to do a big plaque and do it on the thing on the wall outside of it. We just want to pay homage to what was already there, and we want to continue on with the same spirit, hopefully, and try to do justice what the Lord was already doing there and what the people who have already poured in for so many years have done there.
Thanks, David. So if I can, so the property is currently zoned R6, which is a residential district. And the permitted uses in this orange color that you're seeing here is residential. There is an existing church here that operates today that is in that RC6 residential district, as well as the Winstead Tabernacle property. Envision Franklin says that the adaptive reuse of historic structures is recommended over tearing down for new construction. And so what David is proposing to do by preserving the church, even though it's a change of use, is in line with Envision Franklin and the adaptive reuse of the historic structures that are here. The property is mostly building, and we are requesting a rezoning to a PUD to allow the music recording studio to operate out of the existing structure. The existing building is about 1,800 square feet and is required to have parking based upon an office use. The parking for office in this location is 2.85 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet. So that totals about 6 parking spaces that are needed for this building in order to change it to a recording studio. So we have been working with city staff and to identify a parking strategy for the use. That could include on-street parking in close proximity. It could include parking in a public parking lot, and it could include a modification of standards requests to address a parking strategy. The property, once commercial, which it has been a church, but the property doesn't have parking on it for the church or for residential or for the recording studio. So in today's zoning ordinance, for you to have parking on the property, you're required to have a 6-foot landscape strip all the way around those parking areas. You're also required that the parking be either asphalt or concrete for commercial. You're also required to have the parking located either on the side or the rear of the building. And so this green area that you're seeing around the property, that's the 6-foot landscape that would be required. And so you can see we're very limited that to put parking anywhere on the property. So that's why we're looking at developing a parking strategy. So the Boys and Girls Club parking lot is owned by Williamson County. It is a public parking lot. There is some public on-street parking that's within 1,250 feet. This black dash line here represents a quarter-mile walk. And so those areas would be a potential to create and identify where some parking could be located. But we're still working with city staff, working with the city on identifying a parking strategy for the building, and hope to have that in the next few weeks as we're moving forward. But for the purposes of tonight's meeting, we just wanted to inform you really the intention here, which is to preserve the Winstead Tabernacle and to create a change of use rezoning request with the city of Franklin, so that a recording studio would be an appropriate use within the building. With that, we're happy to answer any questions. If you want to just unmute yourself, you can. If you want to type something in the chat here, we've got one question in the chat. Well, where will people park? And that's what we're looking to identify right now. We're kind of going through a parking strategy. We're working with city staff on that, and hoping to identify those opportunities as well. For David and his partner, they typically need about 2 to 3 parking spaces. So that's what we're working toward, but we know we have to have 6 in order to satisfy the zoning requirements. What is the rezoning that you're proposing? The rezoning that we're proposing is a PUD. So it would lock the uses in. And the uses that we're proposing for this building would be office, recording studio, which fits under the category of office. So all recording studios are currently considered office today. And then 1 residential unit, not as a mixed use, but as a, because it could currently be a residential building today. We have another question. Will there be standard hours of operation? David, do you want to talk about your hours of operation?
Yeah, we run a 9 to 5. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, okay, I can hear you now. Let me go back to sharing my screen. That was really strange.
Yeah. All right. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, so normal business hours is what we keep.
Yeah, you said 9 to 5.
9 to 5, Monday through Friday. So we don't do anything on Saturdays and Sundays.
Does anybody else
May
have
I
any
ask a question?
questions? Yes, go ahead,
Yeah.
please.
So you're gonna have someone living there also besides just the studio?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Nobody's living there. That's just the zoning stuff is what it keeps it. It keeps it in that same bracket. But no one will be living there.
Can you explain that a little further, Craig?
Yes, sure, I can. The PUD allows us to identify certain uses that could carry along with the property. And one category that this could fit into potentially is a straight rezoning of office residential. However, that does not allow us to address the fact that there's no parking on the property. So a PUD allows us to address a parking plan and allows us to establish a parking plan. The rezoning to an office residential district does not allow us to do that. Under office residential, office and residential would both be permitted uses. And because this is currently an R6 district and allows for the building to be converted to a residential house, we're keeping that permitted use as a part of the PUD so that there's flexibility in the future, 20 years from now, 15 years from now, just, really not knowing what happens around the corner, that this will currently be used, or the proposal is to use it as a recording studio for David's purposes. But in the event something changes, like I said, 15, 20 years from now, it could be a house. Does that make sense, Alan?
The only thing it could be?
Correct. Yeah, it could, an office, recording studio is under office and or residential house. Those are the only 3.
And you said that it was going to be named, what was that again?
The Creek Music at Winstead Tabernacle.
Creek Music at Winston Tabernacle,
Yes, sir.
and you were going to, I think I heard you say something about putting up a plaque or something like that. Did I hear you say that earlier?
Yes, sir. We would
That-
love. Say it one more time.
Is that going to be on the outside or the inside?
The outside.
The outside.
Yeah.
And so what would that plaque, any idea what it would say?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. If you got more history on the building, man, we would love to hear about it because we've been trying.
I used to preach at that church, so yeah.
Come on,
That's
man.
great, John.
Yeah, I did. Mr. Winston, Elder Winston, yeah, he raised a lot of us. So yes, a lot of history.
Well, I would love to take you to lunch.
Yeah, sure. I know some people that could really give you some really good historical information about
I
that.
would love that, man.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff in there that like it was pretty amazing that we've kept all. The tapestry that was above the pulpit, all that stuff. Like we kept all that stuff. That
Cool.
we want to reintegrate back into the building and a part of the decor of the studio, you know.
That's pretty cool. I know Alma Macklemore said that they got a hold to a couple of the pews
Yes, sir.
and they are putting them over at the Macklemore house
Yeah.
front porch. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
We kept as many of those pews as we could.
Yes, is there an opportunity to speak right now?
Yes,
Sorry.
Alma, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Alma McLemore, and the importance of maintaining the historic significance of this building is very, very important. And just Elder Haynes said, we have Miss Thelma Battle. She's a historian, and Elder Haynes has stuff he can share. And we were so grateful to you all. We just finished the McLemore House renovating, and the church is such a important part of African American history. It's the nucleus of the African American story, and you were able to give us a couple of pews, and someone sized them for the front porch at the Macklemore House and stained them, and they are beautiful.
Oh,
So, but come to the Macklemore when you come over there. If you're just going to be amazed, and we have events. We have porch talks, things where people come and share stories, and we have different speakers come and talk about different aspects of African American history. So the pews, the part of the story is at the Macklemore House as well. So Elder Haynes, thanks for bringing that up, and thank you for whoever donated the pews. Was it you? Are you David?
yes, ma'am. Yes,
I
ma'am.
came in on the meeting late, so I'll have to go online and get the first part of the meeting. But yeah, the historic significance is definitely should be a part of your whatever your product is. Anything in this neighborhood is historic, and we want to make sure every opportunity that we have to specify things, we want to do that.
That's the key. That we want to come and be a part of what's been there and what's going on there, and we want to be present. Like that's some of the part of the reason why we wanted to continue to be downtown Franklin was because of the rich history and that is in the city, and it's become our home, and we want to continue on what's already been there. And man, when we heard that you were able to get some of the pews, it was awesome, because it has been one of those things that, like, you know, we want to be good stewards of this place. Like this is not a I don't know where you fall on the spectrum of spiritual things, but about 6 to 7 or longer than that, 7 to 8 months ago, I prayed for God to find us a spot that only Him could take credit for, and I believed that He would find it, and this place came in. And it's been a God thing through the thing. And so for us, this has been a place that we believe that we want to be good stewards of. We are not we are new to this. This is a new thing for us. We've never, you know, refinished a building before and stuff like that. And so
David, we've got a
thank you
question
for
here in
patience.
line with that. What are the changes to the outside of the building that are planned?
Zero to the outside of the building.
So you're gonna just
I
replace
love-
any
I-
rotten wood?
Well, yes, we're fixing the roof.
Okay.
We'll be fixing the roof. We have talked about maybe possibly painting the building just to make it look awesome. But I want to talk to you guys about that and see what you guys' thoughts on that, and maybe we can come up with something together.
Yeah,
but-
probably painting the sides again and painting the trim and just making sure that, yeah.
Yeah, but
So
there's
there's
no
another question here
outside-
about, there's another question here about soundproofing. What do you do to
Yeah.
soundproof the
Sorry,
building?
I didn't know how to interject there, so I thought I was.
Yeah, Tiffany, that's fine.
So basically, we're building a building within a building. So as much
Okay.
as we don't want sound out, we don't want sound in at the same time. So
Okay.
anybody who stood at that front door, you know how loud the cars are that drive through there. So
Yes, I do actually.
yeah. So it's pretty loud. So we're basically building a building inside of that. So double
Okay.
drywall, vinyl, all this kind of stuff on the inside of the building that'll make this cocoon that'll hold it all in.
Okay, perfect. That was my main concern.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling somebody today, that very thing that you said, that I felt pretty confident. If you have a recording studio, you can't have sound coming in, so sound definitely won't be coming out.
Yes, ma'am. It doesn't work for us if it's coming in. So that's the main goal for us, is to keep it all in.
Yeah, I think, Sister Alma, we were talking about that earlier. You and I.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we were talking. But I know, I just want to interject. I know that the members, as those church members.
I'm sorry, y'all. Somehow we had another, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so we can just have a dialogue if that's okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Elderman Haynes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just saying, I'm quite sure that the members as well as his family would be very proud and appreciative of whatever historically you could maintain, and give them some kind of pride of letting them see that and things, him being remembered. That's the most important part.
Well, that's one of the most exciting things to me, of like thinking about whenever we open it back up and doing like a communal, like community kind of come in and see
Mm.
what we're going to continue on. And man, it'd be awesome to do worship right there, like in that kind of space. And like, I don't know, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
But also terrifying at the same time, because it's just so much stuff.
Yeah, I was reminiscing when you were talking, when I first accepted my calling. He was one of the ones that invited me in to come and preach, and I've been at Burns Tabernacle going on 23 years now, and yeah, that's a historical place even for myself, as well as some other guys. There are plenty other guys that are preaching and pastoring around here now that would ditto the same thing that I'm saying.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah, it's really a great opportunity, David, to do some good stuff historically and to engage the community. And like Elder Haynes said, a lot of people knew Reverend Winston. I mean, he just an amazing man, and so I'm looking forward to the ideas and the things that you're going to present, that you know going to ask the community engagement to be engaged in, to make this a historical treasure in Franklin, another historic treasure.
Yeah.
So we're happy to be piling them up now. We're finally becoming aware, and the people that are developing and continuing to renovate things are asking and finding out how we can make this a part of the history of Franklin. And that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. We contacted the Boys and Girls Club about doing a partnership with them, about doing a once a month thing where any kid who's interested in music stuff or wanting to learn more about recording studio, we're going to bring them over once a month and teach them studio stuff. And
That's
I want to
awesome.
do the same stuff with Franktown stuff. That's all from day one. That's always been, even Renaissance High School, like the high school that's just a few blocks down. It's like, I don't know. It's always been a heart piece of what we do at the studio. And so to be across the street from the Boys and Girls Club and stuff like that, it was just like, okay, this seems not coincidental. This seems kind of God ordained. So we're just believing in that and really wanting to be able to be accessible and hopefully be able to give back to people in the community.
Wow, it's awesome. That's all I can say. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Well, if you don't mind, we'll keep all of your email addresses from your login and keep you posted on our progress and keep you posted on us moving forward. We've had some conversation about wanting to have a in-person neighborhood meeting. This neighborhood meeting on Zoom that's being recorded is required by the city of Franklin. We've talked about having one more in person there, maybe at the Boys and Girls Club. We need to find a site for it, but here in the coming weeks where we can all just kind of gather together in person and really have the same conversation. So,
just to put it out there, the church that I pastor is always available if you can't find anywhere else. And we're at 611 Liberty Pike.
Okay.
Yeah, just putting that out there. Yeah.
I love that. Can I
Thank
I
you.
put my phone number in this chat thing? So like
Sure.
whoever wants to get it, like grab it and call me.
Yeah, you can.
Seriously, I'd love to go to lunch. I'll take anybody to lunch.
Why don't you
Like,
put your email address in there too, David?
okay.
We definitely need to involve Miss Thelma Battle.
Yes. We'll leave it up there for a few minutes if you want to snap a picture with your phone, or you can write it down, either way. Are there any other questions?
I didn't see it.
Do you have the chat screen
I don't.
pulled up right at is it at the bottom, David? At the top?
Yeah. Yep.
At the bottom, it says chat. If you click on that where it says chat, it'll pull up.
I can also tell it to you right now if you want me to just tell it to you and you write it down.
Yeah, what's your phone number?
Yep, it's area code 479
479.
790 1799.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. And if you do have any questions as we go through this process, please feel free to reach out to me or David personally, either one.
Okay.
Thank y'all. I
God
look
bless.
forward to hanging.
Yes, sir.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
One question here, we know when it's submitted. We're planning on submitting for the Planning Commission on Monday.